Here's a question before we start. Can love be so generous that it actually becomes a little bit tragic? There's a picture book, barely 500 words, pictures a 5-year-old could follow, that grown adults quietly cry over. Some call it the most beautiful story about love ever written. Others call it a quiet warning about what happens when giving has no limits. Today, we're opening it back up. Stick around, because the ending is going to land very differently than you remember. Picture an apple tree standing alone in a quiet patch of forest. Every single day, a young boy comes running to her. He climbs her branches. He swings from her limbs. He eats her fruit until his belly aches. He naps in her shade on hot afternoons. And the tree? She's thrilled. Genuinely, completely thrilled. Because in this story, being needed is her happiness. She doesn't just tolerate the boy, she lives for these visits. That's the setup. A friendship that in its early years looks like the purest form of joy either character will ever know. But time does what time always does. The boy grows up, and the visits change shape. He no longer comes to climb and play. Now he comes with problems. He wants money, so the tree offers her apples to sell. He wants a house, so she offers her branches for the wood. Each time he appears, it's not for her company anymore. It's for what she can give him. And here's the detail that should make you pause. Every single time, the tree says some version of the same thing. Take it and be happy. Not, let's talk. Not, what about me? Just take it. Years pass between each visit, sometimes many of them. The boy, now fully a man, keeps returning only when life has worn him down. And each time, the tree has less to offer, yet somehow finds a way to offer it anyway. Her apples are gone, her branches are gone. She becomes quite literally just a trunk in the ground. This is the part of the story that quietly wrecks people, because it doesn't feel like fiction anymore. It feels like every parent who gave up their own dreams for their kids, every friend who kept saying yes long after it stopped being healthy, every person who confuses being used with being loved. By the final pages, the boy is an old man himself, tired, worn down by a full life. He comes back one last time, not for apples, not for wood, not for shade. This time, he says he doesn't need anything at all. He's simply too old and too tired for adventure. And the tree, now nothing but a stump, says the only thing she has left to give: rest here. So he sits on what remains of her, and the story ends there, quiet and still. No dramatic music, no grand lesson spelled out, just an old man sitting on an old stump. And somehow, that's enough for her. Here's where the story stops being cute and starts being genuinely provocative. For decades, this book was read as the ultimate symbol of a parent's unconditional love. Give everything, expect nothing, find your joy purely in someone else's happiness. But read it again as an adult, and a different question creeps in. Was this relationship ever actually fair? The boy never once asks how the tree is doing, never once offers anything back, never even seems to notice what he's taking. And the tree never asks him to. She calls herself happy right up until there's nothing left of her to be happy with. So which is it? Is this a story celebrating selfless love? Or is it quietly showing us what happens when one side never learns to receive and the other side never learns to say enough? Silverstein never tells you which one is correct. That's exactly why this children's book has been debated by literature professors, therapists, and parents for over 50 years. Here's the real reason this story sticks in your chest long after you close the book. You've probably played both roles. You've been the tree, giving, giving to someone, and quietly hoping they'd eventually ask, "What about you?" And you've been the boy, taking a little too easily from someone who never once complained. The story doesn't ask you to feel guilty. It asks you to notice. To notice when giving turns into disappearing. And to notice when someone in your life keeps giving until there's nothing left. And to be the one who finally asks the question the boy never did. So, is The Giving Tree the most beautiful love story ever written for children? Or the quietest tragedy ever disguised as one? Maybe it's both. Maybe that's the point. If this story hit you the way it hit us, drop a comment telling us, were you the tree or the boy? And if you know someone who spent their life giving more than they've ever received, maybe send them this video. Subscribe for more.